What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic CM. It's episode number 32, and yes, I'm back, buzzing to be back uploading videos once again after what have been quite a frustrating week for yours truly, technologically speaking. And in a moment's time I will be discussing what's going to be going on my channel with the future of my projects, including this one, and of course the FM save as well. Bad news about that one, but yeah, I'm back, pleased to be back, and thanks for your patience after the past few days whilst I have been sorting things out and getting my new iMac. Yes, I bought a new iMac because I had no other choice. My old one died, for those that missed it, and I was absolutely gutted. I was really worried that things were going to be totally screwed. Thankfully, I can still resume this series. Unfortunately though, I do want to start off the episode here, as you saw a bit coming for Charlie Taylor, which we rejected from Torino, and also the FA Cup 4th round draw, which pits us against Nottingham Forest, who are of course still a Premier League side in the game right now. That is at Turf Moor. Of course, we are the defending champions, trying to retain it after winning it last season. Real briefly, I do want to mention this for those that have been asking, those have been wondering what is going on with the FM save. Now, I put a post out on my community page last week. Unfortunately, after 8 years of fantastic service where I could not say a bad word about my iMac, it had been on its last legs for like 3 years, man. Like, seriously, I don't know how on earth it was still working and still doing what I needed it to do every single day. You know, there were so many times where I thought, after I turn it off tonight, it probably won't turn on tomorrow. But it just powered through. It just found a way to keep on going. It still had legs left. It still had something extra in the tank. But I knew one day it just would not work and it would be over. And unfortunately, last Tuesday, I tried to turn it on. I'd already scheduled my Football Manager season opener video for 4 PM. And I tried to turn it on, and yeah, it was just a black screen. And I was absolutely gutted about it, because again, after 8 years of using it every single day, heavy video, heavy photo editing, it had been put through a lot, and for an old machine it had done really, really well to last the amount of time it had. But I knew at some point it just wouldn't be able to give me anything extra. It was like, come on dogs, man, seriously, you can't expect me to continue anymore, I'm too tired. And yeah, I was gutted to see it officially die, and I just wasn't able to resurrect it. So unfortunately, what that means, as you see in the first game of today's episode here, Lautaro Martinez scoring the clincher, the dagger in stoppage time. By the way, I said before, these celebrations, when they are warranted, like in this game here, 4th vs 5th, massive game for the Champions League qualification, coming into the second half of the season, you know, these are the moments where those celebrations look so cool, and when they're situation specific and they're appropriate, they look absolutely fantastic. But anyway, on the back of the loss there, what I wanted to mention is that I'm very pleased to say that this series can resume as normal, because I've reset up my Elgato Game Capture HD, which is how I record the gameplay from my PS5 and from the TV and getting onto my computer. I can continue with this series, no problem whatsoever, because I had no problem with my PS5 or anything like that. But unfortunately, do have to mention this real briefly for those that hadn't seen my community post that I posted last week. The FM save, and I mean, this is sort of like typical me, like making a rookie error here, but the FM save was stored locally on my iMac. Now, of course, nowadays what you can do is you can store it in the cloud, and that means you can transfer your saves across like multiple different systems if you're, you know, for example, like a PC player, but then you're going away for the weekend and your missus is annoyed because you bought your laptop so you can play FM whilst you're away. You can store it in the cloud and do that. I, like an absolute idiot, did not store it in the cloud. I only had it locally. It was on my system, and because the system is now dead, as Reece Nelson, by the way, 68 minutes into this game here against Everton, scores goal number 9 for this season. You know, after season 1, he did well last year, some big moments last season, but this year he's excelling, man. Absolutely incredible season from the former Arsenal boy. Yeah, I, like an idiot, rookie error, schoolboy error, have to hold my hands up. No one else's fault but mine. I only stored the save on my Mac and locally, so unfortunately I can't get it back, and I'm absolutely gutted, because we were just beginning the 4th season of the save, and things were just starting to get good. You know, we had a really good like 3rd campaign, and like we were just outside of the European places. We almost did it. We almost snuck into a European spot. We finally got the Wonder Kids. You know, every single save I do, there's always a couple of new gen / regen Wonder Kids that you know are going to be stars. We had them. We had them in Fabian Geraldo, the kid from Colombia, and of course Paracambi, you know. So I was really, really buzzing for the progression that the save was now going to start making, but unfortunately, yeah, do have to be honest, it's gone, and I'm absolutely gutted. There's nothing I can do about it. It's my fault. I take full responsibility, but I will be starting a new FM save very soon. I'm going to crack on with the Realistic CM, continue these episodes uploaded daily. But in the near future, whether it's next weekend, whether it's the weekend afterwards, whether it's at some point next week, I don't know. But I will be starting a new FM save. Team suggestions, more than welcome. Feel free to put them in the comments. Feel free to message me on Twitter. Team suggestions, more than welcome. Happy to do a different kind of save to the ones I ordinarily do. But yeah, I did want to address that with you guys today. It's been a frustrating week, technologically speaking. To lose my iMac after 8 years and a save file, which I was just as gutted about, is really disappointing, but one of those things can't be helped. We move, and we move on to better and bigger things. Anyway, on the back of the loss to Manchester United, we beat Everton by 2-1 in the following game. Sorry, and you know, I mentioned before, like in this year's FIFA, because late goals are just so common. Like there is never ever a moment where you feel like you're out of a game in this year's FIFA, which is kind of great in many ways, you know, but at times it can feel a little bit too obvious. So in that game we conceded very late on, thought the Toffees had found their leveler, and then Mbuemo scores deep into stoppage time to give us the 3 points there and return it to winning ways in a 2-1 victory. Again, the late goals in this year's FIFA, I've mentioned it many times before, I don't know whether it's sort of coded into the game this year, that they can be a lot easier to score and also concede as well, of course. Whether it's to show off this new celebration system they have on next gen and the animations, I should say, whether it's to make the games feel more dramatic and exciting towards the end. I'm not entirely sure, but it does seem a bit obvious. You know, I mentioned it before, it seems like every third or fourth game, there's a really late goal getting scored and you see those celebrations time after time. It's definitely something I think that EA, if they have done something to influence that, I hope for next year's FIFA it's kind of toned down a little bit. Late goals are part of the game, you know, but not every other game, you know what I mean? So I do feel as though it's been a bit too common this year. And again, for whatever reason it's happened, I'm not entirely sure. But it does sort of show you the value of staying switched on in a game as well. And this goes for both, you know, online and offline gameplay. Staying switched on, because I've noticed it happens both online and offline for me when I'm gaming. It does just seem very, very common. And I guess it does sort of, again, show you the value of sort of like persistence and not sort of throwing in the towel, if you will, even if you're still trailing by 2 with 10 minutes to go, because of how easy it is and because of how OP momentum is. And I've noticed momentum does seem even stronger in this year's FIFA. You're never truly out of a game. So even though we conceded that late 11 to Everton there, I still felt confident to find a winner, which we did. Following that 2-2 during Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup 4th round, so we got a replay that will come right before transfer deadline day. And after that one there, we had this game against Liverpool away at Anfield. This was one of those really frustrating games where like you play really, really well, like even though you're massive underdogs, but you just don't get the rub of the green and you don't take your chances. And the Reds scored 3 goals here. And also real briefly on this as well, celebrations in this year's FIFA, discussed a minute ago there, obviously the late goal celebrations are done automatically, and again they do look fantastic when it's situation specific, but how many times do you see it in this year's FIFA where like the AI will like run towards the AI manager after a goal? It seems to happen like really, really often. And again, this is the sort of thing where with EA, I hope in future versions they'll make it more situation specific. Like if a team is absolutely flying and just high flying, firing on all cylinders in amazing form, it kind of shows great unity, you know, when you go to the manager, and that would look kind of cool. And again, situation specific. Same if like a team is really struggling, maybe a manager would be ordinarily feeling under pressure. Like in this season, we've seen that Arsenal have been struggling quite significantly. It would be cool to see the players run over to Arteta to give him that sort of backing, that kind of confidence, you know. But like I noticed in that Liverpool game there, like it was very, very common. Like each goal was going straight back to Klopp, and again it does happen quite often in this year's FIFA. Like the players just run to the manager like half the time, you know. It's a bit unrealistic. It doesn't always happen like that in real life, of course. But anyway, our final game for this episode on the back of the loss there to Liverpool. Such a frustrating loss as well. 3-0, didn't really deserve that, I thought. Took on Forest away at the City ground. Again, this is the FA Cup 3rd round replay right before transfer deadline day. Scored 2 goals in the first half. Sorry, 1 goal in the first half through Longstaff. Then Westwood with an amazing chip. Forest got back in the game, but Tyrese Campbell bagged that 3rd here. with about 20 minutes to go to surely confirm our progress into the 4th round. But what I talked about, late goals in this year's FIFA, like I discussed earlier, they're just so common, man. Like, they're just so common. Like, ricochets, deflections often go back into the offensive player's direction to make it easier for them to score. 2 goals in 7 minutes, but thankfully they come through the 3-2 victory. We are indeed through to the FA Cup 5th round. But that we're into this episode of the Realistic CM, guys. As you can see right here, 13 games to go. We're in 6th place, 1 point off Chelsea, 7 off Manchester United. Still a chance with 13 games to go of a crazy top 4 finish, but it is going to be very difficult. Have a great day, guys. Much love to you all. I hope you enjoyed this Chatty Docs episode, and I'll see you for the next episode of the Realistic CM featuring Transfer Deadline Day, and also the first leg of our Europa League Round of 32 tie very soon.